Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. After hundreds of political rallies, speeches, controversies, and months of build-up, India's 18th Lok Sabha polls finally kick off today. In this 7-phase election, the first phase has the maximum number of seats, a total of 102 spread across 21 states. In fact, by the end of today, 11 states and union territories will have completed their polling. Now, in the lead-up to the polls, we have been discussing how different parties have been campaigning and what their pitch has been to the country's nearly 97 crore voters. But today, we take a deep dive to understand the biggest narratives that have dominated these polls, what is at stake for the BJP and the opposition parties, and what makes this election different from the one we saw back in 2019. And to discuss all this and more, we are joined by veteran journalist and contributing editor to the Indian Express, Neerja Chowdhury. Neerja, a lot has been said about the likelihood of the BJP returning to power. When our reporters have spoken to people on the ground, a lot of them have said that, this is not a very exciting election. As someone who has covered multiple elections in the past, what do you think makes this one unique?
I think, of course, I agree with that, having traveled just a little bit in Maharashtra, Western UP, and now in Rajasthan, some parts of Rajasthan. It is a very low decibel, quiet election. Everybody talks about it. Of course, there isn't the noise on the streets, but there aren't also the posters and banners. Of course, you get hoardings from time to time of the Prime Minister with his guarantees. But otherwise, it's not like other elections have been, and people have noted it. Part of the reason may be that many feel it's a done deal. Narendra Modi is going to come back to power for a third stint. So, okay, we know what's going to happen. The suspense is only on the number of seats that the BJP and the NDA will get. And even more so, the suspense is on what Narendra Modi is going to do in his third term. That's what people are really interested in. What you say is different from other elections. Other prime ministers in the past have sought a third term like Mr. Modi. But if he gets it, and he gets it on a high, then no other prime minister barring Jawaharlal Nehru, who also incidentally was 74 years old when in 1962 he was seeking his third term through election. And Mr. Narendra Modi is also going to be 74 this year. But Nehru won that election, went into a third term, but after he won, his health was frail. He wasn't keeping too well. And remember, it was 62 was the year when the India-China war took place, which in many ways had shattered Nehru. He wasn't the Nehru of earlier years. And then, of course, in 1964, he passed away.
Jawaharlal Nehru, chief minister of his country since India became independent in 1947, died at the age of 74. Neither on the political stage nor in moral stature was his leadership ever challenged. The motto remains of this man.
And of course, the other prime ministers who've had 10 years in office is Indira Gandhi, 67 to 77. But in 77, she was wiped out all over North India. Dr. Manmohan Singh, he also completed 10 years in office, 2004, at the head of a coalition government, UPA. And in 2014, the grand old party of India was just over 40 seats. So he had to go out of office. Now, Narendra Modi, at the end of 10 years, remains more or less as popular as he was. Of course, one is as one travels, the wave is not what it was. The Modi wave is not what it was in 2014 or 2019. Now, there are many reasons for that. People are not so aggressive, people are not so vocal, something it's a done deal, there is a fatigue setting in. There's also boredom.
Yeah, people have been saying, इस बार ठंडा है.
ठंडा है, एकदम ठंडा है. लेकिन एक और चीज people were talking about in Rajasthan. They say, it's too much. They're bombarded with Modi images, Modi news in the media. And there is a little bit of fatigue setting in there also, social media as well. Now, some people said this, but Narendra Modi overall remains popular, is all set to come back. It's not as if there is anger against him, even as there is dissatisfaction with many of the things, particularly economically, many people lower down the line are hurting. Price rise is what a lot of people talk about. Smaller businesses getting affected. Farmers, above all, in North India, large chunks of them, Jats in particular, are unhappy.
And despite the fact that people have these grievances, unemployment, farmers' distress, inequality, they also say that there is no viable alternative.
You see, when you are in, say, West UP, talking to people in the villages, they will say, yes, there's joblessness is increased, my son doesn't have a job. Another SC, Dalit in Rajasthan, Sikar district says, I'm a graduate, there's no job I have. How do you make both ends meet? I have to depend on my father, who's a teacher principal in a local school. Now, all that causes a sense of angst. But who will you vote for? In Western UP, the people I talk to, Modi. Why? There's no one on the other side. So what you're saying, the opposition, there is opposition, but they are no match for Modi and this huge machinery, election machinery, the like of which probably does not exist anywhere in the world to contend with.
Okay, and when we specifically talk about the BJP's campaign this time, in what sense would you say it's different from last time? Because last time it seemed that the rhetoric of polarization along religious lines was much more prominent. Pakistan had featured very prominently. But in what way is BJP's campaign different this time?
Going by the places I've been, I would say 2014 was a Hindu-Muslim election in North India. This is not a Hindu-Muslim election. This does not mean that the Hindu hasn't got Hinduized. Yes, they have. But it's not on those lines of Hindu-Muslim polarization. Nor is it an India-Pakistan election, which the 2019 election was after Pulwama and the surgical strike.
जब सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक हुआ था, देश को खबर पहले हमने की थी. इस बार हम देखते हैं नए तरीके से आगे बढ़ेंगे और वही रोने लगे. वो तो यही सोच रहे थे कि भारत पर घाव किए जाओ, हमले किए जाओ, प्रॉक्सी वॉर किए जाओ, भारत तो कुछ नहीं करेगा, वो हाथ पर हाथ जोड़ करके बैठा रहेगा. देश के दुश्मनों में भारत के प्रति ये जो सोच बनी है, तो उसका मूल कारण 2014 के पहले जो सरकारें थी रिमोट कंट्रोल वाली, उनका रवैया ऐसा था, इसके कारण इनको ये आदत हो गई थी.
And national security, national pride, nationalism, fervor, that kind of thing was up. People were on a high. And obviously it added 5 to 6% additional vote to the BJP's kitty. That's what the results showed. And it almost was 38% of the popular vote. This time, no. If there is an issue in this election, it is Narendra Modi. As people keep saying, the wave is not what it was in 2014 or 2019. People are not talking about it so vocally and aggressively. And yet, people also say that the BJP might have lost had it not been for Narendra Modi. So he is the buffer.
साथियों, मोदी देश से गरीबी खत्म करने के मिशन में जुटा है. मैं भी आप ही की तरह गरीबी को जीकर यहां आया हूं. मैं कभी भूल नहीं सकता.
And as I say, even the Mandir, the Ram Mandir, which one expected, would have added to the BJP's vote share this time. And everybody you talk to, every Hindu you talk to is very, very happy. They've either been there or planned to go there. They want to celebrate their birthdays or anniversaries. And I know journalists who went and covered the Pran Pratishtha at Ayodhya and then went back home. This is from Ayodhya to Varanasi, somebody. And said, my 4 professional young friends came and touched my feet because I'd been at the consecration ceremony. I know in Maharashtra this has happened. Older people touching the feet of younger people who'd been to Ayodhya. So there is reverence, there is faith in that. But when you talk to them about poll issues, they don't mention Ram Temple at the top at all, or even 2 or 3. It's only when you ask them, what about the Ram Temple? Yes, Ram Temple. And it's not so much the Ram Temple per se. It adds to the appeal of Narendra Modi as someone who got it built, that's the way they see it, who facilitated its construction, which others in the past had not been able to do. So Ram Temple is not the kind of issue that the BJP may have also expected. It could have been the Pulwama of 2024. So it is Modi's personality, Modi's leadership, what he stands for, and people feel, and the words people have used to me, संभाल लेंगे, situation को संभाल लेंगे. Of course, there is the dissatisfaction people talk about also. So I think it's a toned down version of the, I wouldn't say wave, but a faith in his leadership, which is still there. But many more voices of dissatisfaction also getting voiced, and openly voiced, which was not the case in the last election.
Right, and people talking about the lack of an alternative. Let's talk about the Congress party. In what state does the Congress party find itself now compared to 2018? Because a lot seems to have changed, at least perception-wise, after Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra.
Look, yes, Bharat Jodo Yatra and Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra, the two yatras undertaken by Rahul Gandhi, have changed his image from a non-serious politician to one that people take more seriously. But number one, he does not have the kind of connect that Modi has with his audiences or with the people. That's one part of the story. Priyanka Gandhi, I saw her in Dausa only 4-5 days ago. And the way she spoke without a note for over an hour. I looked at the audience. It was very good mobilization. It's Sachin Pilot's territory, Dausa. So a lot of people. It's a massive rally. But what interested me was the connect she was making. Point by point by point.
मेरी बहनें, आप जब बाजार जाती हैं कुछ खरीदने के लिए, जब त्योहार होता है, जैसे अब नवरात्रि का त्योहार है, आपको कुछ खरीदना पड़ता है, आप चाहते हैं कि बच्चे अच्छे अच्छे कपड़े पहने, त्योहार का दिन है, घर में कुछ अच्छा सा पके, तो आपको मुश्किल होती है कि आसानी से सब खरीद सकती हैं? मुश्किल होती है ना? पहले से ज्यादा मुश्किल है कि कम? ज्यादा. बहुत महंगाई बढ़ गई है. अब आप समझिए इस बात को, अभी तक जब तक चुनाव आया तब तक आप गैस सिलेंडर को कितने का खरीद रहे थे? 1100-1200 रुपए. चुनाव आने लगा, नेता क्या कहने लगे भाजपा के? 400 रुपए का आप सिलेंडर ले लीजिए. तो जब 400 रुपए का सिलेंडर ये आपको चुनाव के पहले दे सकते हैं, तो पिछले 3 साल से क्यों खरीदवा रहे थे 1200 का? समझ रही हैं आप बात?
And watching their expression now, people afterwards, I said, how did you find her? बहुत अच्छी वक्ता हैं ये. And so I said, not like Rahul. नहीं, राहुल को तो भाषा ही नहीं आती है, हिंदी भाषा ही नहीं आती. So I mean, I'm saying she was able to do a better connect with people than as Rahul. Rahul they say बहुत अच्छा इंसान है, हिम्मत से बोल रहे हैं. But as far as an alternative, being seen as an alternative to Modi, that has not happened, at least not so far.
Right, even during the Bharat Jodo Yatra, there were a number of faux pas that he had made. His comments on Savarkar and him saying that those going to the Ram Temple consecration were mainly celebrities and people like Adani and Ambani.
राम मंदिर का इनॉग्रेशन हुआ, देखा आपने? उसमें आपने एक गरीब आदमी देखा, एक देखा आपने? उसमें मुझे अमिताभ बच्चन दिखा, ऐश्वर्या राय दिखी, अदानी दिखा, अंबानी दिखा, सारे के सारे बिजनेस वाले दिखे. मुझे एक गरीब बंदा उसमें नहीं दिखा, एक किसान नहीं दिखा, एक मजदूर.
Yes, I think many faux pas that he has made. I don't know, I thought leaders, when they speak, at least the major speeches, they sit with their team and decide what are the points they will flag off, and even have speech writers write for them, and then, that kind of an exercise is undertaken. I don't know whether Rahul does it or not.
And Rahul Gandhi not connecting with the people, do you think that's only limited to him, or is that a larger Congress problem?
No, I don't think that is. They have good speakers and they have very talented people. Even today, a depleted Congress has what are called in Hindi politically shatir, sharp and savvy people and experienced people. Even Mallikarjun Kharge is an old hand.
क्या ये डेमोक्रेसी बचेगी? इसीलिए ये आखिरी चांस है आपको वोट देने का. इसके बाद कोई वोट नहीं देगा, क्योंकि ये पुतिन, रशियन पुतिन का जो प्रेसिडेंट इलेक्शन होता ना, वैसा ही होते चले जाएंगे. ध्यान में आ रहा है आपको? इसके बाद नो चुनाव, उन्हें अपनी ताकत के ऊपर वो चलाएंगे, चुन के आएंगे 200 लाएंगे, 300 लाएंगे, 400 लाएंगे, 500 लाएंगे. अगर हमारी सब 543 है तो उसको बढ़ा के फिर 600 भी बना देंगे. तो ये
if they had played that card, any party, any group of people, any individual has to play the cards they have in hand, ultimately. And one of the cards they had was Mallikarjun Kharge. If they had built his persona, it's not an in word to use, but everybody's doing it, so I will use it, cultified his personality. After all these things happen in politics and it's done, then it might have had an impact on the South, the Dalit community, because India has never had a Dalit Prime Minister. And I know he's not well known in the North, but given the build-up, how it would have panned out, we don't know. But anyway, it's too late for that. So the Congress is doing much better. The manifesto has been good. The BJP's manifesto is just a listing of, we'll do this, it has no background of why and thinking. You may disagree with the Congress manifesto about them wanting to get to the OBCs and win that vote bank, which I think is going to be very difficult. But at least they are flagging off, they're moving in a certain direction, finally, in terms of a narrative. But Congress's main problem, if I might say so, it's a jaded party. It's got so used to using politics to make money over the years and decades. It's again a cliched way of putting it, a drawing room party rather than a party which goes out and works there.
Yeah, in fact, something that people talk about often is that we don't see Congress workers throughout the year, but we only hear from them when it's time for elections. And even after the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and we've talked about this recently on the podcast, the Congress could not capitalize on its popularity in individual states.
Yeah, this is a very interesting thing. I was in Maharashtra when the Bharat Jodo Yatra was taking place, and I thought to myself, one must go, it's something historic happening, and one must go and see it. So I went and caught up with it in Akola and all. And I traveled 250 kilometers to get there by road. And I kept stopping. This is not the places where the yatra was coming. Not one person said to me anything against. They said, very good. For the first time, somebody is coming to us to find out what we feel about things. And then at the end, when he finally finished 4,000 kilometers on foot, people said, this is something that's Rahul Gandhi's own achievement, that he walked on foot for so long, didn't give up in the middle. But it improved his image. What did it do for the party? Suppose there was enthusiasm in many centers. Could they not have held shibirs there a week later to capitalize on the generation of the new political energy that was taking place so that the party could have benefited? But none of that was thought through. I think the purpose was only to give a new image to Rahul, which he got. The purpose was not to revive the Congress party. Insofar as that, the Rahul's own image reflects on the fortunes of the Congress, okay, but not a deliberate, well-through, calculated plan to rev up the party. And because the party's organization is what has taken a beating in North India. And that's not a very good thing to happen. What is very worrying, if I may say so, I'm giving a long answer to your question. I feel happy that the Prime Minister is making a pitch for the South and going to the state Tamil Nadu, which has been the most difficult and resistant. Hindi, that's the image the party's had. Because to have a geographic divide coincide with the political divide is not a good thing for the country. BJP in the North, Congress and the opposition in the South. So also, the Congress needs to make a determined bid to get back some of its base in Uttar Pradesh and in the northern states, because the reverse political divide is also not very good.
And Neerja, now let's talk about BJP's goal of winning 400 seats, and which now seems like it'll be a slightly uphill task for them. Talk about what are the things that will come in the way of them actually achieving this target.
Look, 400 is a tall order, as the Prime Minister has given it. Now, it's one thing for leaders to give targets to pep up the cadre. And normally this has been done by Amit Shah, state-wise, nationally. This time the Prime Minister has done it himself. So that has an impact. I know in a place like Bombay, for instance, Mumbai, in the finance world, several people asked me soon after the Prime Minister had given this cry, Why 370 for BJP and 400 for... Why this number? It worried them. Is it because they want to change the constitution? That some people in the opposition say. But people say, could it be that we are headed towards a one-party rule? Is that a good thing to happen? No matter, we would like Modi to come. We'd like political stability. We'd like the continuity in economic program. All that they say. But one-party rule, they are anxious about, worried about.
और अब की बार पूरा देश कह रहा है, अब की बार खड़गे जी भी कह रहे हैं.
While the middle class and the intelligentsia, the finance world in Bombay are worried about the 400 figure, thinking why is 400 needed? Does it mean we head towards one-party rule? Or does it mean change in the constitution? If so, to what is the goal? The Dalits, and I found this in Rajasthan recently at the village level in the Dalit tolas, younger people talking about it. Are they going to change the constitution with 400? And does the change in constitution mean that they will do away the reservation meant for us in legislatures and parliament? So that worries them a great deal. And will it affect voter choices? It may, because there is talk about Dalits teaming up with Jats who were not very happy, very disgruntled on the Kisan issues. And so is that a lineup that's taking place? It's talked about in some parts of Rajasthan. So let's see what impact that has also in Uttar Pradesh and other states, particularly in the north.
So do you think the slogan, "Is baar 400 par," might actually backfire for the party a bit?
It could, because the Prime Minister is obviously seized of the matter. He has on more than one occasion said we don't plan to change the constitution. And he has even said that Baba Bhimrao Ambedkar would not be able to do it if he was there.
और जहां तक संविधान का सवाल है, आप मान के चलिए और मोदी के शब्द लिख के रखिए, बाबा साहब आंबेडकर खुद आ जाए तो भी संविधान खत्म नहीं कर सकते हैं. हमारा संविधान सरकार के लिए गीता है, रामायण है, महाभारत है, बाइबल है, कुरान है, ये सब कुछ हमारे लिए हमारा संविधान है. ये आज संविधान के
So he's tried to reassure, but the horse has bolted. Whether you can get the horse back. Certain people, yes, you can change perceptions by clarification, but has the damage been done? I think certain amount of disaffection and worry is certainly there. And as I said, it is not just limited to the top echelons, it's gone to the village level. That one has seen.
And you mentioned UP, you were there recently. It is an important state for the BJP. Last time it had won 62 out of the 80 seats there. And this time it hopes to take that number to 71. Now the Congress there has allied with the Samajwadi Party. Tell us how that alliance affects the BJP's prospects.
This time the Congress has allied with the Samajwadi Party. The BSP is not part of it, as was the case last time. That's a loss. BSP is contesting on its own, as we know. And alliance was also left too late. I think if they'd worked it out earlier, they would have got more time to campaign in the various constituency. The non-announcement of candidates. So far, the Congress party has not announced its candidates in Raebareli and Amethi, as I've just said. That itself has surprised people. Why not? But the fact that it's left too late, all kinds of conjectures are there. Have the Gandhis deserted UP? Have they given up on the battle? And so on. So let's see what happens in the coming few days. But Uttar Pradesh is also not smooth sailing for the BJP. This is a state where the BJP could have upped its 2019 tally by 10, and that was their goal. In 2014, they got 71 seats on their own, 73 with their allies. In 2019, they got 62 seats, 64 with their allies. Now, if they are going to, because of anti-incumbency at the end of the day, going to lose 1, 2, 3 in various states, even in North India where it was saturation point. Rajasthan 25 out of 25. Even Karnataka 25 out of 28. Haryana 10 out of 10. Uttarakhand 5 out of 5. Himachal 4 out of 4. Somewhere if they give way, and Bihar 39 out of 40. So if they lose a little bit, 2, 3, 4 here, where are they going to make up the loss? And it was felt UP is the one state, large state, where they could have done this make-up, taken a leap, not by ones and twos. So UP remains very critical for the BJP even in 2024.
साथियों, मेरठ की इस धरती के साथ ही मेरा कुछ अलग ही रिश्ता है। 2014 में और 2019 में मैंने अपने चुनाव अभियान की शुरुआत यही मेरठ से की थी।
But, and this is a big but, I found in Western UP, Jats unhappy. They talk about it. It's a silent voter also. We don't know what the voter is thinking. Of course, the RLD joining hands, Neerja Chowdhury joining hands with the BJP again, will consolidate the Jats that much more. But the Rajputs are openly on the war path. Yogi Adityanath's community, and they have held panchayats, expressed their angst. They've been unhappy that they've not got the kind of representation tickets that they used to have. And so one explanation is that many fear that Yogi Adityanath may be shifted out of UP to Delhi after the Lok Sabha election if Mr. Narendra Modi wins with a convincing majority. And that is something that worries them.
And which is surprising because at one point people were actually viewing Yogi Adityanath as the next successor to Modi.
So certainly when you talk to people, RSS included, what after Modi, the post-Modi era, yes, his name is the first name to be taken. Of course, there is Amit Shah, but his is the first name. But after Vasundhara Raje Scindia, senior leader from Rajasthan, and Shivraj Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh, not given a primary role in their respective states despite their huge seniority and experience, there is worry, will the same thing happen to Yogi Adityanath? True or not, whether or not it can be done also given his position, and he also has an independent following in Uttar Pradesh. And he's sent wherever the BJP has an important campaign to conduct. So certainly the Rajput community is disgruntled today in Uttar Pradesh, and the BJP will have to take care of that because that's not a very happy situation to find itself in.
And you were earlier talking about BJP trying to make inroads in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu, right? What do you make of its campaign there?
Its president, K. Annamalai, is very impressive. Whoever you talk to, the opponents of BJP or the supporters of BJP, they talk of him.
Be it a smart city, 1,000 crore, Tamil Nadu has got higher number of smart cities than the rest of the country. Be it Amrut city, Tamil Nadu has got highest number of Amrut cities than the rest of the country. Be it the national highway expansion, Tamil Nadu has got highest. Be it medical colleges, Tamil Nadu got 16. So whatever data you see, state like Tamil Nadu, which has got Modi ji in its heart, and Modi ji has got Tamil Nadu in his heart, Tamil Nadu has been given lot of projects more than any other state. He doesn't talk about it because he knows. In our BJP website, we have put out a 13-page document calling a white paper. Sector-wise spending, we have disclosed. We know they will not disclose. I request our press friends also to go to BJP's website and to download this 13-page document. You can analyze it, sector-wise spending. He brings that old argument that we are contributing to somebody else's growth. Now we have to understand.
And primarily, it's his hard work over the years. The issues he's flagged, of course. But I'm told he gets up very early, 3-4 o'clock, and he's out very soon after that. And just hits the road virtually, meeting with groups of people. And now he's fighting a very interesting battle in Coimbatore. It's a difficult one. They will increase their vote share in Tamil Nadu, the BJP. But whether they'll get a seat or two, if they do, then he'll be the giant killer if he manages to win that and somehow get through. But he is a man to watch in the future. And in Karnataka, they've done the completely opposite. They've put all their eggs in the Yediyurappa basket, old warhorse, not a new face, and allowed him to have a major say in the distribution of tickets. So they didn't want to risk antagonizing Yediyurappa. Now, it is again, having got 25 out of 28 Lok Sabha seats in 2019, it's difficult to improve that tally. But if they can go near enough, surveys have said they'll get 23, whether that's the real situation, because the Congress this time is in power. And it has a combination of Siddaramaiah at the popular level and D.K. Shivakumar, who is a troubleshooter on many fronts.
And we also have to note that in the assembly elections, the BJP was voted out of power primarily based on allegations of corruption.
That's right. So let's see. At the moment, they say the guarantees promised by the Congress are not being fully fulfilled. The Congress is facing a financial crunch. They say they're not getting the money from the center that was promised to them, and so on. So let's see. Karnataka is going to be a very interesting election also. Telangana is going to be a very interesting election. The BJP had got 4 seats last time. This time I have a sense, of course the Congress party is in power, that it will become much more of a Congress versus BJP battle, and the BRS, the regional party, which was in power till recently, may lose ground in the Lok Sabha elections.
And Neerja, one thing we've not talked about so far is the crackdown on opposition leaders, and specifically the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal, who continues to be in jail. Could you talk about how big of a threat BJP perceives Kejriwal to be?
See, I would suspect that the BJP views Kejriwal as a threat in the future. To say that he's a threat today, he's got 1.5 states under his belt. And he's trying to prop up his party, and of course made some showing in Gujarat, and now trying in Haryana, Goa, but he doesn't add up to a threat. But he is politically savvy. He thinks politically on his feet. And they know that. And he's got a module in Delhi which other states are studying. And it's a delivery module. It's not a caste-based, community-based module. Bijli, Pani, school and health, mohalla clinics. Those are the 4 very important things that people value.
And all very tangible things.
And all very absolutely tangible, seeable, and as I say, other chief ministers want to look at how they have done it. But I can understand dealing with your opponent, dealing even ruthlessly with your opponent, but to have them put in prison, to have him put in prison in the midst of an ongoing election. Of course, the courts have said, we are not worried about the timing and we are only worried about the evidence before us and so on. But I feel Caesar's wife has to be above suspicion, and if he had to be put in prison, it could have been done on June 5, rather than after the whole election process is on, to remove him from the campaign scene. Particularly when free and fair elections, elections are the heartbeat of India's democracy. And to hold them to appear to be free, fair and free and non-partisan, I think is a very important, at least to my mind, it's a very important thing for any ruler to ensure.
And Neerja, is there anything else that stands out for you in these elections that we haven't already talked about?
Everybody says it's a very significant election. They're sensing it's a very significant election. It's an election which will give Narendra Modi, somebody like Narendra Modi, a very powerful, popular leader, another term, what that is going to entail, how he will use that. He's talked about 1,000-year civilizational project, moving down that road. What will it translate into, ABCD? So people sense that something big, and he himself has said big things are going to happen. What they will be, we don't know.
Right, though in the manifesto they have talked about UCC, One Nation, One Election, and CAA, though there is no mention of NRC.
Yeah, all these things, as you've said, have been listed. Some people feel close to the PMO, whatever it may add up to, that the Prime Minister may become more inclusive in his third term and may reach out to the minorities in a new way, the Muslims. I hope that comes out to be true.
Yeah, because right now most of the Muslim votes, at least in the Hindi heartland, will likely be going to the Congress.
Yes. This time the Muslim vote is even more than in the past elections. They feel they are not going to waste it. They are very quiet, very silent. But I think internally they seem to have, this is the sense one gets, that we must not waste our vote.
You were listening to Three Things by The Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.